Well, good day, guys. It's good to see y'all. It's a beautiful morning here in central North Carolina today. Today is actually June the 14th that I'm making this. It's Monday morning and had the day off work today, so I'm enjoying it here around the home. I've been up early. I've managed to fold clothes, finished straightening up in the house, and then I've been out here in the yard. I've worked a little bit so far. I've got more to do here, but got our trash together and took that off, and so just been busy around here. But it's been a beautiful morning thus far. It's actually, the sun's actually getting on up now, so it's getting warm out here. But in my backdrop, I hope it's showing up well. Just over my shoulder right here, you'll see a beautiful sunflower. Let's see, I'm the wrong side. It's on this side. I'm watching my phone, guys, over this shoulder. But there's a beautiful sunflower, and guys, that thing just volunteered and came up. I know last year a lot of folks had their sunflower challenge on YouTube, and so I'm not doing that. But anyway, I just wanted to show you this. Just volunteered and came up out here. I don't know what it is, what kind it is, but we just left it, and it's continued to grow. And it's just a beautiful picture. So thought I would share that with you today. But I didn't get to really do a full-fledged something different time last week where I talked. Last week was just so busy, guys. Had a lot going on, and so I just didn't have the time to be able to sit down and do that. And I promise you, I'm going to try my best to do these as much as possible, because a lot of you compliment on the something different time how well you enjoy it, and I enjoy making them. I really do. It's just a time that I can sit down, talk to you, and I enjoy reading your comments in return. But say a little bit about our weather here. Now today is actually a beautiful day. I was watching the weather forecast when I got up this morning. They're saying that there's a chance of more rain this afternoon. Now we have had a tremendous amount of rain within the past few days. I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember what day it was this past week, but my neighbor down here at the bottom of the hill stated that we had received over 4 inches of rain in less than an hour. And guys, that's a lot of rain to fall. And I can look at my garden out there. It's still muddy, for the most part, but nothing washed away, thankfully, but I can tell it had a lot of washing rain that fell on it. And there's a little bit of crabgrass starting to creep in. I've been trying to work on that as I can get the opportunity. I did work on my okra some. I've thinned it out. I've actually chopped around it. I got some of the grass, or all the grass, out of it. But the garden itself is just too wet to work the middles out. But hopefully we can get that in a day or two. Today's the only chance of rain is this afternoon, maybe a thunderstorm. The rest of the week looks dry, and about Wednesday they're saying we might get a cold front to come in here and drop our temperature down to 81. So I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, that's where our garden's standing, and it's looking great. I mean, everything around here looks just beautiful, guys. I mean, for this time of year, I love this time of year, and we've got flowers blooming around here, and so working in that a lot, trying to add some, beauty to everything to look at. So I enjoy that, and I may do a walk around video someday here in the future and show you, our flowers, different things we have blooming. Because I know I like to look at that myself, and so it's kind of a joy to be able to look at things like that. So hopefully we can do that. We've got our onions up. I don't know if I shared that with you. I was wanting to do a video on that, but that was another thing with the rain coming. I had to hurry up and do that. And so I went ahead, got my onions out, and I've not ate any yet. I've got them there. I've got them laying right over there. They're on the back of the swing curing out. And but they're I mean, guys, for a long day onion, they bulbed out beautiful here in central North Carolina, which is intermediate, short day, whatever. Uh, I may try to stick a photograph right here. So yeah, you can see those guys. They're beautiful onions, and I'm just thrilled to death to have those. That's my first time doing that, and so I'm thrilled to death. I've got the English peas. Probably going to work on those today or tomorrow. Get those out, and don't know what I'm going to put in place of them. I've got other things that I could plant. Uh, I thought about. I had a subscriber that sent me some greasy bean seed. And I thought about trying those over there, just a few of them, because I've got the trellis for them to run on. So I thought about trying that, just something different to put there. And just a few of them. I'm not going to use all my seeds, but just a few of them. We've got some of our tomatoes. I've still got 3 of the celebrity hybrid tomatoes that I've got to set out. And I've got some hot pepper, the Texas Cowhorn hot pepper, that I will set out. I've got a place down here, I'm just waiting for it to dry out, you know, that I'm going to plant those. And I've got my deal set out. I've got the little watermelons. I think those watermelons are called a black diamond. They're a small watermelon. They only get about this big, but guys, they are so sweet. We had them last year over there, and I didn't keep the seed on them because I was afraid they could be mixed with the others that I had, but they don't really produce a lot of vines, but they really had a great watermelon to them. So I want to get some seed, I hope, this year. The Cherokee Tan pumpkin, I haven't done anything on that video-wise, but it is growing. It's looking good. The one, the ones that we planted, they are looking great. So not seeing any pumpkins yet, but the vines are starting to run, so it won't be long on that. So just to give you a quick update of my garden and what's going on, didn't mean to bore you with all that, but I do want to say I appreciate my subscribers. Guys, I can't tell y'all how much. I know the last video I did before this one, where I talked about the plow video, holding to the plow and not looking back, that was a tough video for me to do, and I hope that people got a blessing from that and received some encouragement. And I'll say more about that here in just a moment. But do want to say I appreciate all my subscribers. I appreciate your kind comments and watching my videos, because guys, without you, there'd be no point in me even being here. And I can't say that enough. So I really appreciate each one of you. And, to those of you that's sending gifts, I appreciate that as well. Don't take nothing for granted. I pray that God will not let me get unthankful and not appreciate what people do, because I certainly appreciate it. And so with that being said, we want to get into our topic today, and I'm going to kind of stay on the being prepared topic today. I've not said a whole lot about that in a while, but thinking back to the video that I put out the other week about the plow video, you think of it like this, and I failed to mention this, but if you'll go back and look at those preceding verses that Jesus was talking, you will understand why he made the statement that he made. He was seeking followers. And guys, if you're determined in your life that you're going to follow God, or that you're going to follow, this route of homesteading, or you're going to follow being a prepper or being prepared, and I don't think really you can do any of the single ones without the other. I think number one, you should be a follower of God. And if you're a follower of God, God's going to teach you to be prepared. And also, the homesteading life itself, puts you back in touch with nature. Guys, I am never any more at home than I am when I'm around a plant, when I'm out in the woods, when I'm in my garden. That is my happy place. I can't say that enough. And it's just like me and my son was talking just a few minutes ago. I was telling him about the fact of working in a greenhouse. And I've been doing that since about March, I think. And guys, that is so therapeutic. I cannot describe to you what that's like. Some people may find it boring. Some people may find it dull. It's not like work to me. An old man once said something one time. If you'll find what you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life. Now you think about that. And there's I have about 3 things that I love to do. Number one's gardening, working in plants and things of that nature. Number 2, I love canning. I love putting food up. Number 3, I love working in textiles. I mean, I worked in textiles majority of my working career. That's what it's been. And those are probably 3 of my favorite things to do. Now I've got other things that are probably least favorite, but if they'll put food on my table, then I'm happy for it and thankful for it. But I want to talk a little bit today about just being prepared. And guys, there is so much uncertainty in our world right now. And if you don't believe that, you've got your head stuck in the sand and you refuse to acknowledge what's going on around us. And the days, I won't say something, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s. And the days of watching the local news at 6 o'clock in the evenings and 6:30, that was, pretty much when I was growing up, that was the time you got quiet. You sat down in the living room, you didn't talk, and Mama and Daddy listened to the news. And I want to say something. Those days are gone. Now listen to what I'm saying. Oh, it still comes on. You can still watch it. But it's rubbish. It's garbage, what they're portraying. And if that is your only source of learning what current events are, you're being misled. I'm just going to tell you, I hope I don't get my channel in trouble for what I just said, but you're being misled because it's all biased. It's all about an agenda now. And guys, if you can't see that, you're badly mistaken. Now, I do try to catch my weather. I want my local weather reports. And I don't even depend on that anymore because some of that's rubbish. And we have one TV station here locally that we pick up, and they have a great weatherman. I'll have to say, I think he's a Christian. I believe he loves the Lord because he's not afraid to acknowledge the Lord. Especially, I follow his Facebook page, and I've actually conversed with him a few times. I remember back in 2000, the year 2000, we had a tremendous snowstorm here. We actually had well over a foot of snow fell in one night. And I've got some photographs. I don't know if I'll be able to post it on here, but right out here, before we had this gravel pad poured out here, there was a little walkway that went out to the mailbox. And I've got a picture of my oldest son when he was, I don't know, I think he was about 3. Yeah, he would have been about 3 or 4, maybe going on 4 years old. He was out there after I had shoveled a path going out to the mailbox. He had his little shovel out there, and he was trying to shovel snow. So I remember that from that photograph. But talking about that, that night, my wife and my son had gone to bed, and I noticed the lights began to flicker, and it had changed over to snow that evening, about 8 o'clock, I guess. And I began to notice that snow and snow and snow and snow. So I had it on our local TV station. And like I say, the lights would flicker and come back on. And he was breaking in about every 30 minutes through the night. And I began to, I seen what was happening. And I mean, by midnight, we already had well over 6 inches of snow, and it was still a coming. And he said this thing is developing as I speak. When he began to talk about it on the weather, he come in off and on all night long. And he said, guys, we're in. He said, go ahead, buckle up. This was after midnight. He said, guys, we're in for some major snowfall here in North Carolina that we've not seen in a long time. He said, this is going to be unprecedented. And sure enough, it was. I had photographs. I can't find them now, but on this back rail, like this rail right here that you see, the snow actually stood up a foot on top of that rail. And I'd never seen that before in my life. And like I say, we had photographs of it if I could find them, but I don't feel like digging through them right now to try to find that. But it was just all amazing. But that's when I learned to trust him, and he was a good guy. I don't know how I got off on that, but anyway, your mainstream media that we have today, where you get your news, guys, don't trust it. Don't believe it. It's all it is. They're wanting you to believe what they want you to believe. And the days of just telling the news for what it is, regardless of which side it helps and which side it hurts, they're over with. It's all now about trying to tear down one side and protect the other side. And for the most part, what we have today has been hijacked by the left, whether you want to admit it or not. And, that's just the way it is. And they control it. They control what you get. And if you'll go back to the 1930s, guys, it was the same thing back then. And, with Mr. H, I'll just call his name like that had the little mustache right here, he done the same thing. And we're seeing no different now. And, so if that's where you get your news at, you have no idea what's going on, guys. There's things, if I don't want to talk about it on here, but there's things coming up the tracks, and I'm just watching right now with the little poke in the arm. There's signs on the doors that if you haven't had that, you still need to put the thing on your face. Guys, that's not going away. I was thinking yesterday, I wonder if it really could be the mark, or if it could be a precursor. No doubt that it's that. I mean, I don't know, but we need to be prepared. We need to know what's going on in our world. We don't need to stick our heads in the sand and hoping that everything's going to be all right. I mean, I'm not one of these people that just sit around, that's content to sit on my rear end and hope that everything's going to be all right. Now, granted, there's things, it's like I said the other week, there's things going to come in your life, folks, you can't do nothing about. You can't change it, you can't fix it, and you've just got to go with the flow on it. Now, that goes back to the Apostle Paul, when God told him, he says, Paul went before the Lord 3 times that God would remove that thorn that he had in the flesh. And God told him he wasn't going to do it. But he said, I'll do something better than that. He said, I'll give you grace. And he said, my grace is sufficient for thee. The grace was to get him through it. So many times, guys, in my life and your life, we've all been guilty of this. How many times we said, God, please take this away. God, please take this away. It may not be God's will to take it away, but it may be God's will to get you through it. Just like he did the 3 Hebrew children, Daniel in the lion's den, and guys, I could go on and on and on. That's recently been mentioned in a talk time that someone else had, and that so touched me. And well, I'll just go ahead and say it. It was Mr. Danny over at Deep South Homestead, one of his recent porch times. I was so touched with that talk time. But guys, that's the thing about it. And we don't have people now that's got any grit that wants to go through anything anymore. People just, guys, you're going to have to roll up your sleeves, because there's going to be some very hard days ahead. You know, and being prepared, you know, like I say, people just hope that, well, maybe it'll get better. Maybe things will smooth out. There comes times you have to just do that. You have to take your hands off the situation, put it in God's hands, and hope and trust that it will. But guys, there's other things we can do something about. My grandpa had a saying, and I like this. I've never forgot. I thought a lot about it lately. But he had a saying that went kind of like this. He said, don't put off tomorrow what you can do today. And to give you a good example of that, now I haven't done anything this year, but it's really not been a problem. But last year, I tuned my Ford tractor up, and that'd be something good to make a video on. But I changed oil in it. I think, I put new spark plugs in it. I hadn't put none in it in a long time. And I put new points and condenser in it. And people say, I'd wait till I had to. I'd run them just as long as you could. Yeah, you can do that. You sure can. You can do that. And what'll happen, come midwinter, you'll get up one morning, something will happen. You absolutely have to have that tractor, or I will. And I'll be in a hurry, and I'll need it. And this will be one time I don't need it to show itself. You following me? And I'll go get on it, and it won't start, or something will be wrong. And I said, if I'd have only tuned this thing up back when I had the opportunity, had the money, had the time, and I felt like it. It wasn't 30 degrees outside. It wasn't freezing cold outside. It wasn't raining outside. If I'd have done it then, I would have this tractor running right now. Guys, I can think of multiple times, but I've been there at that. So guys, but I tuned it up, and you know what? By God's grace, she didn't let me down all winter. She started when I needed her. And that's no guarantees that it will, but most of the time, that'll happen. But I think of another situation. This is kind of like funny in a way. But I think of another situation similar to that. I was working at a place not far from here, and I was actually in management position, and over maintenance. And I kind of, as I was getting into the job, learning certain aspects of it and everything, I was kind of getting a routine set. And on pretty days, I wanted, if there was work to be done outside, I wanted to be outside doing as much stuff outside that could be beneficial as I could. Well, my boss came to me and says, you can do this anytime. Said, I got something else I need you to do. And it was forevermore like that. Well, we had an issue with rain on the front side of that building. And I wanted to work on those downspouts and get the drains hooked so it would run the water away from the building and not have it falling out. And what was happening, it was actually getting inside. When we had torrential rains, I mean, guys, it was actually getting inside the building. And that was a problem. And I wanted to do my best to try to eliminate that. And while I had pretty days, I wanted to be out there. Well, no, don't want you doing that right now. So what I just said, okay, you want to run the reins of this thing, you go ahead and you run it. So one evening, it come a heavy downpour, and guys, guess what? I was out there in the rain, having to unstop a gutter, having to redo all this, do all that, and mess. And a woman came walking by with an umbrella, and she says, "Do you need some help?" And I was mad, and I said it. I said, "No." I said, "I need somebody to just, if they'd leave me alone, let me do my job. I wouldn't be out here in the rain messing with this crap." I mean, I said it before I realized it. And then I look back and I apologize. I said, "I didn't mean to snap at you," but I said, "Yeah, I'm ill right now." And we kind of let that go at that. But anyway, guys, you got to be prepared. And, it's just like last week, we had a surprise around here. We had a massive power outage that happened, and it was two power companies that received their power from the same transmission line. And what happened? A tree fell on it, or that's what we're told anyway. Whether it did or not, I don't know. But anyway, so, that had everybody alarmed. It didn't have me alarmed. I wasn't worried. As long as it didn't stay out. Now, if it had stayed out for a day or two at a time, yeah, that would have been, I'd have to get busy. But, I mean, guys, you don't know. And what I've been told, we're going to see more power outages this summer. I don't know. We'll see. I think that remains to be seen what's going to happen there. So I really don't know what's going to happen. But guys, put up all you can now. If you can get canning supplies, get them now. If you can get extra food, if you have some extra income that you can invest in long-term storage food, put that up now while you can. Because guys, I see literally in the very near future shortages like we've never seen before. I think that's on the horizon. Uh, I mean, it's just like this deck that I'm sitting on right now. I would love to refloor it. I would love to redo it. But guess what? You can't find lumber now. I think there's a whole lot more to that than what we're being told. Well, matter of fact, I know they are. And, that's just one of them. But the food shortages, all these other things that's coming down the tracks, guys, I don't think we've even skimmed the surface to what we're headed for. That's why you be prepared. Because don't be caught. As the old saying is, don't be caught with your pants down. I watch people at work. It's just like this past weekend. I watch people come in with their raincoats, and I thought, that's a prepared mind. They saw the weather forecast. They knew that there was a chance of rain this afternoon. And so, guys, that's what you do. You learn to prepare. But be careful where you're getting your information from, because there's a lot of it today. It's just junk. There's no more truth to it. All it is propaganda. That's all it is. And I don't even look at the mainstream no more. I'm sick of it. I don't care who you're talking about. The outlets that I'm just sorry. I'm sick of it. You got one trying to portray one side and another trying to take sides with other. That ain't what it's about. Just give me the facts and I'll make up my own opinion. What they want to do, they want to control the opinion that you make. And guys, there's another word for that. I won't say it now, but it is what it is. So guys, anyway, I hope and trust you're having a great summer so far. I hope and trust your garden's looking good. I know mine is. I'm well pleased with it. I haven't even had an insect problem yet. There's a little bit of something on my beans. I'm about 100% sure that is Japanese beetles. It's getting about that time of year for them. So anyway, we'll deal with that. in the future. So, guys, I hope I said something today that's been a help to you. And be prepared. Be prepared. And that's all I can tell you. So, guys, anyway, till the next time, y'all have a great day. Have a great week. Stay safe. And thank you from Little NC Farmer.